All right, we'll call the meeting to order. Please stand for the pledge. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
A moment of silence. Please be seated. Jamie, do you want to read the mission and vision statement?
Sure. The mission of East Washington School Corporation is students are empowered and encouraged to reach their personal best. The vision of East Washington School Corporation is to achieve excellence in education.
Thank you. Roll call, all board members are present today. At this time, we will open for public comment. Okay. Our first item for the board is I will call for nominations for school board officers.
I would like to make a nomination to retain all the current officers as is. Can I do that?
Okay, yeah, you can. So making a motion.
Yes.
To retain all current officers. Do we have a second?
I'd second that.
All right, any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All officers remain the same for the 2026 school year. All right, approval of the board meeting dates. School board meetings take place on the fourth Tuesday of each month unless otherwise indicated in the chart below. Meetings will begin at 5 p.m. unless otherwise announced. It is recommended that the board approve the prospective dates for the meetings. Do I have a motion to approve those?
I'll make that motion.
And a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? Okay, all those in favor? Aye. Approval of appointments. The Board of School Trustees is expected to officially appoint the applicable positions, treasurer, deputy treasurer, extracurricular treasurers, and recording secretary at the first meeting in January. The board also needs to name individuals annually to sign checks, contracts, agreements, and purchase orders. I'm not going to list all those, but they're as presented. Do I have a motion to accept those?
I would make that motion.
And a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
The School Board of Trustees each calendar year approves procedural matters. Treasurer to issue payroll when due. Treasurer is to pay certain invoices in advance to take advantage of discounts and avoid penalties. Superintendent is to apply for state and federal funds when available and useful to our schools. Authorize treasurer, deputy treasurer, or superintendent to apply for and issue school corporation credit card for school use in accordance with Indiana Code 20-5-1-1.1-1. Building principals are authorized to expend extracurricular investment funds in accordance with the State Board of Accounts regulations. Do I have a motion to approve that?
I'll make that motion.
And a second.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Annual appointment for legal advertisements. The School Board of Trustees is expected to annually identify media venues for publicly sharing legal notices. It is recommended that the board approve the Scott County Herald as the newspaper to be used to advertise legal notices requirements of the district. Do I have a motion to accept that?
I'll make the motion.
And a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion?
That is Washington County.
There isn't a Washington County, and the
It's-
leader.
It's owned by
Mm-hmm.
Lascaux.
Yes,
That's what.
yes,
It
yes.
looks like it's.
It's the free newspaper.
Yeah,
Right.
theleader.com, we did check into that, and they don't post the legal notices.
Okay.
So Joanna had checked that because we
Okay.
had that question last year. This is really our only option.
Okay.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Approval of consent items. Do I have a motion to approve all of our consent items?
I'll make that motion.
And a second?
I'll second that.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Personnel, it is recommended the board approve the personnel as presented. All those are listed there. Do I have a
There's an
motion?
extra sheet.
Oh, and there, yes, there is an extra sheet, sorry, there was a couple added. Do I have a motion to accept all of those?
I'll make the motion.
All right, and a second?
I'll second that.
All right. Any discussion about any of those? All those in favor? Aye. Alright. And then we have approval of the appropriation resolution. It is recommended that the board approve the appropriation resolution for the calendar year 2026. Do I have a motion to accept that?
I'll make that motion.
And a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Approval of the resolution of recurring transfers from education fund to the operations fund. It's recommended that the board approve the resolution for recurring transfers from the education fund to the operations fund as presented. Do I have a motion to accept that?
So moved.
And a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Approval of appropriation transfer report. It is recommended for approval of the appropriation transfer report for the 25-year end. Do I have a motion to approve that?
I'll make that motion.
And a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Approval of the 2025 appropriations brought forward to 2026. 2025 appropriations brought forward to 2026 for the education fund was $5,072.28, and the operations fund is $15,268.43. It is recommended the board approve the 2025 appropriations brought forward to 2026. Do I have a motion to approve those?
So moved. Go ahead.
Okay, I'll make a motion.
Okay, a second.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Approval of travel payment and reimbursement resolution in keeping with policy 6550. Payment and reimbursement rates for per diem meals, lodging, and mileage shall be established by the corporation and approved by the board annually. The mileage rate will change to 72.5 cents per mile as per 2026 IRS guidelines. Do I have a motion to approve the resolution for payment and reimbursement reflecting that mileage rate set for 2026?
I'll make that motion.
Okay, and a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Permission to void outstanding checks, deletion of outdated checks pursuant to Indiana Code 5-11-10.5. All checks outstanding and unpaid for a period of 2 years as of December 31st of each year are void. And those are listed there. So, it is recommended that the board approve those to be voided. So can I have is there a motion to approve those?
I'll make that motion.
And a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Approval of transfer resolution, education to rainy day. It is recommended to approve the resolution to transfer $84,000 from the education fund to the rainy day fund. Do I have a motion to approve that?
I'll make that motion.
And a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Approval of new courseware offering for the 26-27 school year. And these are new high school courses. So it's recommended to approve the new courseware offerings for the 26-27 school year. Do I have a motion to approve those?
So moved.
Okay. And second?
I'll second it.
All right, any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Approval to utilize Walnut Grove Consulting Services. It is recommended that East Washington School Corporation use Walnut Grove Consulting Services on an as-needed basis during the 2026 calendar year to provide support with budgeting, financial planning, and fiscal analysis. Do I have a motion to approve that?
I'll make the motion.
And a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion?
Is that in place of,
That's in place of, Matt, but it's an as needed, and honestly, I don't anticipate utilizing that service a lot, and we did cap it at a lot smaller rate, but just he did look over like our 1782 notice for us this year, just to make sure we're not, just have that second set of eyes. Most corporations have somebody that just has an outside source. That way you have that final check before you send your budget through, so.
No, I think that's very good. Do are other people in the area using them? I mean, it's
Yeah,
nice.
so he's a retired superintendent.
Oh, okay.
And, yeah, he's working with just very few because he actually has another job, so it's not a full-time, but yeah, he's working with 2 or 3 other districts. And he
Good.
had offered to do that for us, so. And he is actually one of the superintendents, one of the 2 that I worked with back in 22 and 23 when we were looking so tight, and he was one of them that I trust their advice,
Good.
so.
Sounds like a good relationship.
All right, all those in favor? Aye. Approval of fundraisers. It is recommended the board approve the fundraisers as submitted. Do I have a motion for that?
So moved.
And a second? I'll second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Approval of obsolete surplus items. It is recommended that the board declare 2 buses as obsolete surplus items. The buses will be sold in a public online auction. Do we have a motion to approve that?
I'll make that motion.
And a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Approval of school board compensation resolution. It is recommended the board approve the school board compensation resolution as submitted. Do we have a motion to accept that?
So moved.
And a second.
I'll second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Approval of donations. All right, so we have for the elementary school from the New Pekin Methodist Church, $200 for students. High school, New Pekin Methodist Church, $200 for students' guidance. Middle school, New Pekin Methodist Church, $200 for student guidance. Middle school, American Stave DBA Blue River Wood Products, $750 for students' guidance. Elementary school, Roseanne Quattroke, Art Gives Back, $35 for students. High school, GT Builders LLC, $1,000 for wrestling. Middle school, wait a minute, sorry. High school, Silver Fox Cafe, $100 for wrestling. High school, Usher Transport Inc., $250 for wrestling. High school, Cullen and Tatum Combs, $500 for wrestling. And the high school Eastern Musketeer Athletic Booster Club, $12,516.22 to high school athletics. Do we have a motion to approve those?
I'll make a motion for
All right, and a second. I'll second. Any discussion?
that. Just thank you so much.
Was the booster club, was they just cleaning out the account? Is that
I
what that
would
was?
Yes, they dissolved
It
it.
makes me sad that it's dissolved,
Yes.
Yeah.
because it was a big asset to our, so maybe,
Maybe get restarted.
I know it takes a lot of volunteer work.
And they did kind of earmark how they wanted that money, so Sean will take care of that into the appropriate funds, but there was no reason to put, but they did kind of designate how they wanted to divide it up.
Okay.
But yeah, that's all right.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Approval of first reading of Neola policy updates. There are quite a few there, so as presented. May I have a motion to approve the first reading?
So moved.
And a second?
I'll make that motion.
All right, any
I
discussion?
mean, I'll second.
That's what I thought you did.
I meant second.
The volume 38, when I worked with Dr. Howlett, those, we rescinded the ones that were non-compliant with federal law. So that's why there's a rescind and then a replacement policy. And then their guidance, Neola's guidance on that one that we're deleting, that we put it in student handbooks and not necessarily. So that one's why it's leaving the actual
Okay.
policy handbook. That was on Neola's guidelines. That was kind of redundant. It should be in student handbooks, which is board approved every year, so.
Okay. All right, all those in favor? All right, do I have a motion to adjourn our regular meeting?
I'll make that motion.
And a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, now I will call the Board of Finance meeting opening. We'll call that to order. Election of Board of Finance officers for 2026. Indiana Code 5-13-7-6 requires Board of School Trustees to meet annually to appoint the Board Finance Committee as a legal entity and to review the investment report required by Indiana Code 5-13-7-7. The Board Finance Committee is to include the members of the Board of School Trustees and the person responsible for budget preparation. It is recommended that the Board of School Trustees and Superintendent be appointed to the Finance Committee with officers and duties being the same as those of the school board for the 2026 calendar year. Do I have a motion to accept that?
I'll make that motion.
And a second? I'll second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Review of investment report. It is recommended, or I'm sorry, this corporation currently has no investments.
Because our money market doesn't fall under the
Okay.
investment guidelines. I mean, we do have money in the money market, but that's not considered an investment.
What would fall under the
Yeah,
investment guidelines?
what
What would be an example of that? Like if we had something in, some stock?
Stock, I think CDs fall under investments. I don't know what else we would have as a school. But CDs would, but we,
I see. Okay.
but with us, a money market, it's in our bank, we have access to it, and we're getting a pretty good return interest rate, so it's, that's what most schools, and they've either went with their local bank or Trust Indiana. And for us, German American would almost hit what Trust Indiana would do, and it's right there, so it's an easy move back and
And
forth.
is that where the rainy day fund is?
Everything's, all of our money is.
Okay, all right.
Like, so your funds, they show separate in line, but it's
Yeah.
all in
And
our
it's
account.
just pulled from there as needed.
Right.
then. Yeah, okay, I understand.
And we still need a motion to approve that, right?
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
Oh, sorry, I thought we.
No, it's
did.
okay.
Usually not.
no,
No,
it's
it's
just
just
a
a
review.
review.
It's just a
Okay,
report.
all right. Review of investment policy. Policy 6144 is recommended that the board continue the current investment policy and procedures as outlined in policy 6144. Do I have a motion to accept that?
I'll make that motion.
And a second? I'll second. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Review of financial report.
Okay. So, first one is just our AV, which, is directly tied to our operations fund. And we have seen an increase. I mean, you can look, even in 2025, our assessed value went up again. We don't anticipate that continuing to happen. I mean, every meeting I've sat in has said until 2031, they don't see that continue to grow. So that's gonna, with the property tax
Should level off.
caps, well, it's gonna level off, but for us as a school, it means our revenue is going to go down unless we look at the tax rate. So, I mean, that's just the reality. We know this year, even with the increase in the AV, we're seeing a decrease for 2026, about $180,000. So we have to be mindful of that. It is what it is. So, I mean, it is gonna impact us. I think we're doing everything we can from an operations standpoint to be proactive. We continued, when you looked at December, we went ahead and made our transfer into operations because you're only allowed to transfer 15% from our ed to ops. We had money setting in our operations fund line, but to bolster, we went ahead and made that transfer. So, that's just where it is. This one, when I look at the free and reduced lunch, and we've kind of dropped when you look at 23, 24 of the number of free and reduced lunch. Our special education, our demographics, 24% of our kids have an IEP, individualized education plan, and qualify for special education services. That's high. That's a high percentage of our students.
Is it like that in other corporations, do you know?
Yeah, we talked a lot at the co-op. We're pretty consistent. When you look across the co-op, we're pretty consistent with our other schools in our area. Some of that, I mean, we really think some of it's COVID related.
That's where I was gonna ask
I
the next
mean-
question. That damaged a lot of,
Learning
Thanks.
loss, I think we're actually down a little bit next year, which, you know, this is from the state, this is the state data that we pull, so we're always running a year behind. But I've already seen next year's numbers, and I think we're at 22 point something, so we're back
just going back the right way.
kind of in that. But, and our ELL population remains very, almost non-existent.
I would say too, Rebecca, this is just my opinion, please disagree with me and explain to me if I'm saying this wrong, but I think special education is different than sometimes we think it is too, because we're learning, I think, as educators, how to better meet the needs of students that just don't learn the same as other students. And it's not necessarily, I mean, when I was in school, there was kind of a stigma with that, and I think there still is to an extent, but I think we do a better job of diagnosing students and not letting them fall through the cracks necessarily, and putting them in some specialized training. So I don't necessarily think it's all negative, but.
No, it's not, but I mean, the state they do have an impact. I mean, if you get too high, then they'll come back. But yeah, I think there's some of that. If it doesn't impede their learning though, they wouldn't necessarily get an IEP, or they wouldn't be diagnosed with a label if it's not impacting their education. We're also seeing kids sometimes with, you know, some labels that are trauma related and things that are going on in their lives that impact them, that's beyond their control. But nonetheless, it has an impact.
Sure.
You know, things that happen to you can still impact you as much in your learning too. And so that's an impact. And so some of the labels that are out there now, we might not have had that label.
Sure.
So
Yeah, and I guess
to your
that's kind of what
point,
I'm
yeah.
getting at.
So to your point, yes.
I'm not saying we need to work to get that number higher, but
No.
I also think that it's something that I'm thankful that we have resources for our kiddos that need it, and so, and I think we have a really good program with that.
And our special education teachers work very hard.
They're excellent.
Is this because we house more now? With
No, because this would, even if they weren't part of our local campus, they're still considered our students, even if they get their services at West Washington,
Okay.
because we have shared services.
Yeah.
So like the severe and profound students, which are in a life skills class at high school, go to West Washington. They're still considered in that number because
Okay.
they're our students.
Okay.
Anything else in that breath? This one, when I looked, this one bothers me a little bit. I'm not gonna lie, because when you look at 2021, our school age population is high from where our actual what we're seeing. So if you start doing some deep dive into some of the reports, we're losing kids to online, and we have lost kids to homeschool. That's our biggest. We lose some to Salem, and then they lose some to us, and it's close to a wash. But the concerning, we have a lot of families choosing the homeschool option. I think we had some choose it this year because of the attendance policy that the state put out, and it scared our families. I mean, you know, and I think our principals, our administration, they work really hard with our families, and you know, kids get sick. There are issues, so they work with our families. We know they need to be here when they can. This has been a hard week. I know it's been a hard week for our parents, but that's still, I really want to work on that number, because when you look at our school population, it's high, and I'd like to know
Where they're at?
Well, I know where they're at, but I mean, I'd like to see some of those homeschool kids back in our district, and some
You
of the
think it's
ones.
mainly attendance? I mean,
No, I think
as
some
far
of
as what
it's school choice. I mean, school choice is it
Are
allows.
they getting online from someplace else?
You know, there's several choices in Indiana that offer K to 12. Now,
Interesting.
that has to balance with. I go back to what we had during COVID, and which we've come a long way with online, but it's really hard for me to if you talk to Stacy, and neither one of us believe that's best practice for elementary kids. So if I really believe in doing what's right for kids, do I throw an online program out there just so I capture those kids? I don't think so. I mean, that's my personal belief, because I don't think it's quality. And I when we see these kids coming in, they're significantly behind kids that have not been here since kindergarten. And you know, Stacy, when she presented her IRE data, our kids that have been here since kindergarten, they're passing. They're passing. It's some of those other programs, they're coming in behind, and there's a gap. And you know, that's not to toot their horn, but they're doing a good job down there. So, but
What is our total student population?
we were at 12, 15, but we are going to be 11, some high 11s, because we had 18, I think,
18.
high school midterm grads.
Okay.
So that impacts us. And we've had junior grads, and you know, some schools don't offer that, and we've seen a decline in that. I will say, not as many junior grads because of the work-based learning, and now with the requirements of the CO Plus, it's going to be harder to graduate as a junior. But that always knocks us down in the springtime.
What do they do if they graduate early like that? I mean, they gotta be too young to.
No, I mean, like
They go on to college?
they go on to college.
At that point?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I mean, I've got a niece that went on graduated as a junior. Went on. She's going to probably be one of the youngest graduates from IUS. So she's going to graduate at 19 with her college. So, and I think if they have
Could be
a
that
plan, it's not necessarily. It hasn't been a bad thing. It's just some kids are driven. They know where they want to go, and they know how to get there. So, this is our fund balances. So, this goes all the way up, and we have an estimated of 2025, and this is just the education fund. So I know it's down. We were at $2,047,000. It's down basically what we transferred to rainy day this year. And if you look, and you guys, so when I look at 2025 and this year's, some things happened. When you look at our overall funds, we have other funds that have kind of grew more than our education fund. There is a point where we're not going to continue. You're not going to see huge increases. If you're seeing huge increases, we're not putting our money back to our kids. There's a point where you got to stabilize, and we need to keep that money as a reserve for unexpected. But you also have to think about, I've got so much money, I need to be putting it back. And I think we did a good job getting to a healthy number, and then saying, okay, now we put it back in with our kids.
Well, just for
Yeah.
education purposes, I don't need a lot of explanation, but what were the federal stimulus funds that were back there?
ESSER funds.
Are you talking about how much?
No, just why did we get them, I guess?
Oh, COVID. That's when all the COVID money, I mean, we got
But it was
millions.
15 through 18. Terry, or am I looking at that wrong? Or is that the
Green
general
line.
fund? That's the general fund.
Yeah,
Never
that's
mind,
the,
I see,
yeah.
I see,
Because
okay.
the general fund went away. We don't
I see.
have a general fund anymore. That's why you don't see it.
Yep, no, that makes
Okay.
sense.
Mhm.
I follow it now. I was just looking at the wrong color.
Yeah. And they're not very differentiated either in colors.
Yeah.
And this kind of depicts too what I said. Here's your green line is your revenue, and then your expenditures are your blue line. So you see in we were pretty significantly in outspending our revenue. You look at the trend line. That caught up with us in 2022. And so 2023, you see we way underspent our revenue, but we had to build back. In 2024, it's closer, and I think you'll see in 2025, it's even closer. It's pretty flat, but we're at a healthy number, so I am good with that. And then that's kind of our percent to expenditures. You know what we have in the bank. So, and if you remember when we were working back in 2022, this is 7.9, and that does not match what you guys get per month, because this includes rainy day, debt service, and education. Or not rainy day, operations. I said that wrong. What you all get also includes self-insurance because it is a fund, even though the state doesn't regulate it, we need to watch it, and rainy day. So when you look back at what you guys get month per month, in 2022, we actually had at the end of the year 3.6% of our operating balance. That's what we were setting at with when you calculated in how far negative we were with self-insurance. So now, we went, and then this says 21.7. What I'm looking at with the other two funds, because self-insurance, and if you read your notes, it was actually down a little bit from what we projected this year. Not significant, and I know we have some money we're still waiting on. We have that umbrella policy so that if someone has a major catastrophe, we never pay more than $75,000 as a corporation. We have some of those checks we're waiting on, and then we also have capital in the program we were in, and now every year you renegotiate your insurance. It's my favorite part of my job. Every year we do that, and we left the company we were with because they didn't give us a good rate. Went to a new company that will do our reinsurance, and they owe us $80,000.
Okay.
But they can take up to 2 years to pay that back. So, but anyway, so we're not really as actual money in the bank, yes, but what I know what we have coming, we're not. So you might have, so this is a healthy number. We really, here it's at 21. When you factor in self-insurance, 19.1 is where we came up with for 2020, the end of this year. So that was 2024. So we're teetering, right? And this, what we had last year was 17.9. So this was 21.7, but when we factored in our other two funds, we were at 17.9. So that's why there's a little bit of difference. That's just the types of revenue. Our state revenue is obviously the largest. That's our ADM. That's money per kid. Local tax revenue has increased, but that's when I'm telling you, local income tax is going away unless the state does something. That's our lit money. That's over $200,000. 2028, I think, is the year we will not see that anymore. So that's concerning. And then of course federal revenue peaked during the pandemic, and then we do have a little bit of with the assessed evaluation. That's why we were able to take some of those bonds, those small bonds that we took out. And that was our GO bonds. And we don't have a referendum, so that stays flat. Questions, thoughts?
It's good to look at numbers that trend the right direction. That's a good thing. In difficult times, you guys are doing a good job of managing through.
And like I said, we are healthy. I don't want to continue. You're not going to continue to see an upward trend. I do want to build our rainy day. I think our rainy day is, truthfully, it needs to be between $500,000 and $1 million and it should sit there. It should be a true rainy day. Something happens that we would have to, unforeseeable with facilities or a major issue, then we would have that money sitting there. It's not
So that can be used in education or operations?
It's truly a rainy day. So wherever, if you use it appropriately, wherever you have a challenge.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And in a budget that we're operating, $66,000 is not much money. Truthfully, it doesn't cover much. So,
When's the count day for
February 1st.
second? Monday.
Yeah, but
Okay.
it'll be first. So it'll be on Monday. And hopefully, a couple positives. I know this is not related to our finances, but we did have a really good turnout with our corporation community meeting here last month. I was really happy to see so many people wanting to be involved, and kind of stemmed some other people that in that meeting they said, have you thought about inviting this person? So I think I really see that group growing, and I'm excited about the impact that it can have on our school. And let's just hope this is the last winter storm we have, because teachers, staff, we all, you know, e-learning is not ideal, but neither is going to school in June, and so you gotta make them up one way or another. That's a pretty much non-negotiable with the state, so.
Do we have one more built-in date or not?
We have one in February, yes,
Okay.
a President's Day, and, yeah.
All right. It is recommended that the board approve the financial report as reviewed and submitted by Mrs. Jones, our superintendent. Do I have a motion to approve that?
So, Holly's got it.
I got it.
Second?
Second.
Any further discussion on that?
Can the rainy day fund, is it set in somewhere that it could be drawn interest or anything like that?
It's all in, everything is in one bank account. I mean, we have our, so.
I'm just trying to
You
figure out
have your money.
how to
you-
grow it without having to.
Well, we do. We have as much of our money setting in our money market, making the good interest rate
Mhm.
as what, and Joanna and I watch that every month. It's like, okay, here's what we're spending. Can we go ahead and move a little bit more into that higher interest rate? Which we earn on our regular one too. It's just not at the same rate.
Then the other thought I had was that we can move 15%. 15% is just a percent, but if you got 15% of 1,000 is more than 15% of 500. So if you know, if that fund that you can move 15%
You can
from,
move
well,
15% from your education
right,
fund.
there's no way to grow the education fund so that it can be more. So you can draw 15%.
Well,
Your education
like, all
fund-
the funds are in the same account.
Right.
Your education fund is based on your ADM.
Okay.
So on your student enrollment.
Okay.
So the way to grow your education is to
Yes,
grow
yes,
student
it
enrollment.
is.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to figure out how to make money for the school and not
Yeah.
any way possible, really.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
The next school board meeting is scheduled for Tuesday, February 24th, 2026 at 5 p.m. Do I have a motion to adjourn? I'll make that motion.
Second it.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Meeting is adjourned.